Justin, God called you to stop with the record tampering and spying, watching me in terms of who I am as a person. Justin, you're not a descendant of Elijah. I know that. God knows that. A lot of people can definitely attest that you are not a descendant of Elijah. So, knowing that truth, why are you on social media trying to play out that DNA? That's extremely high level tampering. God is calling you to stop with the sinning. You need to stop. And then you're trying to um, interpret like Greek translations. You just don't have that knowledge. And God never called you to actually do that work either. You weren't put on this earth to do that type of work. Even like an Afro Greek, God didn't call you to do that work. God made black Italian people. There's people who have the Italian or Italo aspects to them, but there are actually black Italian people by blood. God did not call you to interpret, to make any type of interpretation out of that. There's a lot of black people who actually are Sicilian. God didn't call you to do that work, Justin. You just don't have those conscious. You don't have that type of consciousness. And to be honest with you, those perspectives, it's very, very, very peculiar. It's just impossible for him to try to interpret those things. Those are very, very, very. That's between the people and the Most High to interpret. You just cannot fulfill. God didn't ordain you to put that out in society. So in actuality, what do you think you represent as a person? I mean, I have a right to even call you out on biblically because you're the one trying to put yourself on a pedestal. You're the one who's trying to say, oh, I should be getting all these respects because I'm this and this and that. But you're actually not that person. The people genetically who you're actually trying to claim yourself to be and the people that you actually want to respect, you're not the actual person genetically. You're just been pretending. Like I said before in the other video, it's called pretendism. You don't have my uh, timelines. And to be honest with you, this has nothing to do with privilege. It has to do with a relationship between you and the Most High. You've just been tampering with those things. Well, I saw this and I saw that, but even the interpretations, even if you have access into the spiritual realm, the way how you're trying to interpret things is still not in alignment with what God wanted you to put out into society to show society. Basically, put it this way, you know what you projected out into the world. You basically telling the younger generation not to be themselves, not to find out who they are in God, um, just pretend to be someone that they're not, and just don't fit in alignment with their own mental. That's what you've been pretty much been doing, and that you must walk around like just act like a black person. I think that's just too much sicknesses you projected out in society, and how is society supposed to function? You're a reason why the millennials are going through it. I'm being honest with you. You're a part of the problem. Like, you wanted to steal spiritualism. Justin, You can't claim, various visions and the way how people view things, and you can't claim those things. That's like really, really bad spiritual tampering, you know? And then there are some situations dealing with like, it's one thing to put out an illusion and just say, oh, I was just playing with it. I just, I figured put out that concept, even though it had to do with a black person and a black person's life, but I'm gonna put it out as real evidence and say that like that was a part of my ancestry. You have trust me. You're gonna have to write apologetics to the Most High. You're gonna have to like seriously. You're gonna have to write like, racialized apologetics in terms of spirit, dealing with the whole Holy Spirit. There's a lot of things that you were playing with that you shouldn't have been playing with. A lot of things that came out your mouth. A lot of things that you were trying to code yourself and like throw all these codes here and there, and you just shouldn't have did those things. Whatever insights you have, it was ill-gotten. God didn't give you that sight, Justin. You went to satanic things. You went to entities to go and harass like a person that you were not really supposed to even know. And this is what you wanted hidden. And for what means? Well, because, I don't want to see black people get what God promised them. I'm jealous of what God ordained them to have in this lifetime. You owe God an apology for that. You need to go and answer to the Most High. Why did you Why did you stop and block that girl from doing the work that I told her to do? I did not tell you to stop and block her. Why did you do that? Because she had a very important message to put out. There was something that I had her, some work that I had her to do, and it was to help a certain collective of people, Justin. Why did you do that to her? Well, I just have this like superiority complex and I need to maintain my status. She's not in competition with you. You have your distinction and she has her own. You both have two totally different messages to put out, and you shouldn't have did that. Well, I just feel like I should be on top all the time. Now, we can use evidence biblically because let's take it back to ancient times. Moses broke the tabernacles. And what mount did God choose? He chose Mount Sinai through Moses to give those commands. That had nothing to do with you, Justin. Did that have to do with a Turk? No. Well, like I have to play that role. You shouldn't even have taken it to that route. Go pick on somebody your own size. I don't want anything to do with I want no parts to do with even your like wicked type of agenda. Because to me, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense because if you claim yourself to be a Christian, claim yourself to be under true and strong Christian pantheon, you wouldn't go and betray God and go take up Satanism to go betray one of God's people. You wouldn't be doing that if you called yourself the true and living God. And if you call yourself the true and living God, you wouldn't go take texts out of the Bible, trying to play it out as if you were actually a part of those bloodlines generationally. There's a reason why God did certain things before we even existed. There's a reason why. And you just trying to hey, no, who cares? I'll just throw it in the trash. I just want money. I don't care. I don't care about anything. Just money, 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 money. What are you trying to consume God for, Justin? Huh? It's not greedy. That's a little bit ungrateful. I mean, you use other people's real life situations. It wasn't a fallacy. Like you were using people's real life situations to play a game. God can't even use you into the next generation to even execute anything in terms of like revolutionary causes, because you just betray people, and you betray people, and you betray children. Everything was always some type of anger, some type of hatred, some type of jealousy. I don't have time for that shit. Like, put it this way, people still talk about like what happened with the Holocaust. That happened how X amount of years ago, and it's just something to reflect off of with this lifetime. But you trying to say like it's like you're trying to look at a person like me as a black person and saying like, no, you're not supposed to like worry about yourself. You're supposed to just be constantly focused on me. How and why? I listen to God when God tells me, does that, are you supposed to be worrying about what that person's going through generationally? God said, no, that's not your work. That's work for somebody else. So what's your problem? Justin, you made so much money. Like, that's enough. You just give me back my part. The parts that you were talking about that you weren't supposed to be talking about, I need you to return that part. The parts that you said you want to talk about and God told you not to talk about. I need you to return the money that you took out of my own aspects. I need you to return that, because we reached an era now where um, things that were going on back in the day, you know, it's in a realm where of forgiveness. It's a realm of seeing the truth of what was going on historically, and who was really in the wrong, and who was actually living out their truth, and who was actually living the lie. It didn't come from my ancestry. And to be honest with you, like, there's a lot of black people that God will ordain to do certain works, and they're ethnic works, they're cultural works, ethnic studies that were meant for their own people. And out of the text that God, you know, the things that God created them to do, it was for their own people. It was for their own good. It didn't have anything to do with you. So, I mean, if you want to learn about cultures, there's nothing wrong with that. But for you to try and use it against those people, you're in the wrong. For you to say, um, oh my gosh, look what those people did. Look what happened to those people at the Red Sea. Well, we're gonna call them sinners and try to trample them down, and we'll use our arm, our legs, and our elbows. We'll use every aspect, everything that we can dig up against them to trample them down to nothing. And God's looking at them like, Justin, that's what happened at the Red Sea. You obviously weren't there. Stop trying to put so much focus on those groups of people because you weren't there. It's not about you. Well, I'm mad about it. You're not supposed to be mad about those things because it has nothing to do with your culture. Those are different cultures. Look how many cultures there are out in this whole universe. I don't know how many cultures, but there's like thousands and thousands of cultures. There's so many different languages from different regions. You have one country, and then you have cities, and in those cities they have villages of different cultures of people. So all of a sudden you want to take up yourself and put yourself in people's business that had nothing to do with you, and then try and turn and use it against them as if like I'm supposed to be in competition with something, situations that happened to me ancestrally. You need to respect my rights and my sovereignty in terms of like my culture and my human rights. I mean, you were using it in entertainment law. You were using it as entertainment. I think that's like pretty low. That's a very low blow, Justin. And no, you shouldn't get paid for that. I think they have a term, they call it cultural theft. I think that's what they call it. Yeah. And it is a form of harassment and stalking. Nobody invited you, Justin. I didn't invite you in my life. It's about you trying to force your way into my life with your little kitchen magic spells. That's like the weakest thing someone could ever do. And all you have to do was just go to school. Like, seriously, that's all you have to do. Even if you had your music career, like take some time and go learn. You have your groups of people and stuff. Yeah, everybody wanted a quick fix. Eh? That's what you wanted. It's so rotten. I swear to God, it's just so rotten. And the fact that, like, you wanted attention from my own personal life, my own private stories. That's what you wanted attention from. You know, Justin, I'm not a slave. Just for your information, I'm not a slave. I'm born Canadian Jamaican. My DNA lineage is very, very peculiar. I'm very different. You don't share any aspect out of my existence. I'm like I'm one out of maybe how much millions of people in this world in terms of how I'm mixed in terms of genetics, you know? So I can't have you looking at me as if like I'm your slave and everything you do I need to be watching you and seeing everything that you're doing and then using it for my own gain. You know, like I have ancestors. My ancestors, they went through the Underground Railroad, but they ended up in Nova Scotia, and they ended up in places like Connecticut. And I share a very strong ancestry in terms of civil rights, like civil American rights. If God ordained the law, you need to respect it. You're here trying to claim yourself as an American citizen, and you need to respect the American laws that are here. I don't need you to like me, but at the same time, I don't need you to be my enemy. You're a waste of time, Justin. I mean, like America, every state, every city has a story. That's what I'm beginning to learn here. Okay, it's different everywhere you go. You know, everything's in terms of region. You know, and you never you never took the time to even learn Canadian law. You were just obviously you were just like some weird op when you were in Canada. You're sitting around there watching the black people. I mean, we bust our ass. Excuse my language. We bust our butts in Canada. Nothing was given to us. We had to work for it, Justin, and we rightfully earned everything that we worked for. Every black person in Canada, we rightfully earned what we work for. We work for God, and that's why we are prosperous people. And especially my ancestry, unfortunately, we can't. accommodate like certain type of racism around us. We evolved out of those type of thinking. I'm being honest with you. We evolved out of it. We understand history. We understand what led up to, you know, certain situations. But in terms of trying, like being around a person trying to fulfill like all these different forms of hatred, like that's just a waste of time. We have enough understanding as to what's going on with certain people in terms of blood, and sometimes it just takes like small situations to say, look, you know, we understand what you're going through, but it's just best you go over there. Go over there so you don't have to see me or see anyone that makes you angry, because we understand. You is just, you're just generationally unhealed. You refuse to heal yourself, and that fits right into alignment when it comes to Queen Elizabeth, the late Queen Elizabeth, before she passed. You know, generationally with the natives, how the native people were colonized. Your behavior, your mentalism, it runs right in alignment with a Canadian indigenous native, and they have tons of resources that accommodate those type of thinking, the unhealed native people, you know. And in terms of colonization, yes, black people did have to go through those experiences, but there are people who are just more stronger. We are just more resilient in learning how to overcome those generational sins, and it's something that you should have learned from. It's not something that you should be hateful against or something that you should be jealous against. It was a situation that you should have learned how to heal yourself. Like, I don't have time for you. I have to put these videos out because it's God. I have my relationship with the Most High. And when God showed me the truth, and you expect me to sit here and sit in poverty for your name's sake, for Justin Bieber's name's sake, it's not going to work. You've already proved your racism. You already proved it. And that's not God's work. It's not the work of God. Not everything is a competition. I have a right to claim my distinction and tell my story and put out the message that God ordained me to put out. You understand me? Just that's the reason why on YouTube they have so many channels. People have their work to do. People have their mission on this earth in terms of what they need to fulfill. There's like how many billions and billions of people on this planet, everyone living in different regions across the world. Everybody's perspective is different. Whatever God put them on this planet to do, they do it. Whatever God put you on the planet to do, you do it. But in terms of like you thinking that, oh, I came from her tribe, I'm from the tribe in Canada, that's a damn lie from the pits of hell. I'd say what, like 80-90% of people that came to Canada, they came through some sort of immigration law. So how can you actually claim yourself to be of a certain uh, um, DNA when certain people come to the country, because immigration granted them, or the Queen Elizabeth granted those laws for them to come to the country and to fulfill certain works. It's just like if you end up growing up in a city where there's um, different kinds of people. Eventually, yes, you'd end up taking up their mannerisms or their way of doing things, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're that actual group of people. At the end of the day, people revert back to their origins. They go and find their stock, their flock. You know, and that's why you have, like, you go post online saying, "Oh, I have mental this and mental that." It's because of the things that you've been doing. But I'm putting these messages out now because you've been doing this way too long to me. And even the Most High, even God Himself, is like giving you that open invitation for you to just stop with the warfare. Because it's stupid, Justin. And you made enough money. And you're lying on God. You're really lying on God. hmm Nothing gets accomplished. Oh, you racking all this money, nothing, the work doesn't get accomplished. So what, you're gonna turn around and blame people because they're not doing their works? When you're sitting around trying to block people from actually doing their works? Tell me if that makes sense. Oh, let's see this and let's see that and this and that and that. Even into the next generation, God has to judge you. Even into the, isn't that what happened generationally with so many people? Elvis, they end up finding out that his dance moves came from some black person. You understand me? So all I have to say is that my birth certificate is sealed. My birth chart is sealed. What God ordained for my existence is sealed in God. That God is the one that ordained these gifts. God is the one who ordained me. He entrusted me to fulfill certain tasks on this planet that other people can't fulfill. And honest to God, it makes sense because it's people like you, Justin, you're just not humble enough. You don't love people enough. You're not a loving, kind person enough. Behind the scenes, you're just a warmongering fool. There's a time when it's like, okay, like, you played enough games online. When are you gonna stop? I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna prove my point. I wanna take over and I wanna do this and this and that. Nothing gets accomplished. Eh? God don't respect it. It's to the point where, like, you keep doing it, doing it, and God's like, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And then God can just erase all of it. God can say, nah, Justin, nah. I got to ordain someone else to do the work over again because he just messed everything up. I think, Justin, I think you have very low self-esteem. I think that's the issue out of it. I think you have very, very low self-esteem. I think you're very self-loathing. I think you're very arrogant. I think you just like to project out into society, to the world, like to the younger generation, like, oh, I'm a good person. I have dignity. I'm respectable. Talk to me, see me, look at me. But in actuality, you don't have much to talk about, to be honest with you. Like some people, like yeah, illusions, illusions. Oh my God, the song was so good, da 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 da. And then like at the end of the day, it's like you see some of those young kids out there, and they're like, whoa, I feel weird. Yeah, because of all the bull crap you put out there. It's watching people like Justin trying to mess up people generation. You know, and There's principles. God is the one that created those generative processes. Do you realize that, Justin? God is the one that ordained that. It was it, it was generative out of um, the patriarchs historically. You can't be everything that you want to be. And there's a time when it's like you walk through it, you do the work. Once your mission is complete, that's it. There's a time when like you're living your life. You're not warring with anybody, you're not in competition with whatever. You're living your life. But for some odd reason, you're over there in Hollywood. Oh, let's do this. Let's do that to her. Let's hurt her. Let's do this. Let's do that. Da, 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 da. God sees you. That's all I gotta say. God sees you. God sees every single thing. You think that you're the only person who has sight? Is that what you thought? You think that you are the only chosen person, Justin? Huh? That's what you really thought. That's delusional to think that way. I think you're an actually really weak person, and that's the reason why you decided to go and like bully and attack a black female because you know that we have a lot of issues with our historically, and you felt like, well, it's just easier. Why don't you go and pick on a black guy, Justin, and come in and communicate back to me? Come and tell me how that's gonna turn out. Eh? Don't pick on us black women. Go and pick on one of these black American guys. Maybe you should do that. Eh? Don't go pick on a black 16-year-old, my black 16-year-old son. Don't pick on him. Maybe you should go pick on a 50-year-old, 6 foot, 400-pound black dude. Maybe you should do that instead, Justin, and tell me how it's gonna turn out. To be honest, I just can't believe God chose you. That's why I just can't get over that. You know, when you first came out, like people are like, "Oh my God, this Canadian person, da 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 da," he made it. And then there's a time when the Canadian people are like, "Ew, Justin, ew, what kind of kid is this? He's selfish." A lot of people weren't into you at all, at all. And then he came out with this like he went and came out with this like really ugly clothing line with Tim Hortons. And it was all overpriced garbage. And that was another part of you trying to colonize me, because God didn't even ordain you to do that work, but you went and did it anyway, right? Justin, you're a displaced person. You're just like a evil monitoring spirit that just blind and unwilling to submit to the Most High. Eh? You're just a confused entity that doesn't care about anything and anyone. Like, why would you come after God's people? Like, the person that was actually supposed to, like, one of the people that would have protected you, why would you come after someone like that, and then have the nerve to turn around and say, "Oh, they're at fault"? That's too much wicked games. I think that's really stupid. Like, you monitor every single thing that I'm doing. Hey? Oh, you came out with a video with Chris Brown. Why? Why'd you do that? Huh? How can you do that so quickly? Explain yourself. I don't even want to talk about you, Justin. Do you know that? I don't even like talking about you. I've been trying to ignore these things for a very long time. But now it's like God is using me to show that you're not that true and living. You're not living that true, authentic Christian life. And there's some things that you can't turn the hands of time back on some of the things that you did. And I don't need you projecting all your negative traits on me. I don't. No, I'm not taking up military things. I'm not interested in on those things. I know who I am as a person. Doing all these spells, evil eye, uh, all because like, oh, well, she's really gifted and she has a lot of power and da 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 da. Like, Justin, all that's done. It's people like you why there's a lot of work that couldn't get accomplished in Canada. It's people like you that's a problem. You violated a lot of spiritual agreements when it came to God and the contract people I'm contracted with. You're trying to interfere with God's work, and I need you just disappear. Just go off in your corner. Don't worry about what I'm doing. I don't want you a part of my life, Justin. I'm posting these videos now because people need to hear my voice. They need to hear the truth of what is really going on. I can't reason with you because you are hate. The word is hate, Hate. That's a very strong, wicked-minded um, personality trait to harbor in your heart. And then it comes down to like, um, if somebody resides in Canada and they're using the social system that's over there, that's their own personal experience. Not everyone's going to experience the same thing. And knowing that you left Canada at 10 years old to pursue a music career over here, you never actually had experience firsthand of actually living through the social system. So we can just say, like, from the age of 10, you've been lying about socialism. Like, you never actually went through that experience living in Canada. Maybe as a child, but as an adult, you never went through that. After age of 10, it cut off. So you don't know what you're talking about over here in Hollywood. You never knew what you were talking about. You're actually putting out a whole bunch of garbage. And you never gave back either. Sitting around talking about Canadians going through welfare and all that stuff, and you never gave back to the Canadians. Justin has this stupid museum, and it's overpriced in Toronto. It's like the most garbage. I would never spend a red cent. People don't really even go there because it's stupid. I'm not interested in you, Justin. There's a time when it's like, oh my God, he's a rich person. But at the end of the day, I need to move on with my life. I need to live my life. You go off and go live your life. And don't be worrying about what the next poor person is doing. You're so concerned about what a poor person is doing because you want to go online and you don't have those traits. So you want to play victim as if like you were oppressed and you are going through this and that. It's such a stinking, dirty, disgusting lie. Justin, do you remember that part of the Bible when God said the whole purpose of Christianity was to take care of what? Widowed people, orphan people, poor people. No, you chose to stalk people who are orphaned. Justin, I'm an orphaned child. I'm an orphaned adult. And you chose to stalk me. That says a lot about your character. The levels of depravity that he took it to, just to go and try to find some sympathy points when it should have been in the reverse. It should have been the other way around. You should have been trying to help people get out of the situation, not trying to create it. I don't accept how abusive some of these people are. God chose me to do this, and God didn't choose you to stalk an orphan, Justin. God did not choose you to stalk my orphan teenager. God didn't ordain you to do that. Oh, the black kid is in foster care. Oh my God, I can use that to make a video. Yeah. Okay, so where is he? He's over there. Oh, he's by himself. Oh, he's lonely. Oh, I can make a song about that. I can say it was me that's lonely. I'll use that situation and I'll make a song about it and a video. And instead of putting a black kid, I can put a white kid. Instead it was a white kid in foster care that was lonely in Canada. I can say that, and I can say I lived through that. When you never lived through that, Justin. I'm just saying, that's a caution. You're owing for that shit, eh? You're owing for talking about a black child in the foster care system that was in Canada. You're owing for that. There's a process of redemption for those children, and you had no right to interfere with God's processes. Absolutely no right. You expressed so much disrespect through your actions, Justin. Right? But you want to talk about me, right? You want to talk about everything that I was going through, everything that my kids were going through, and then you expect people not to talk about you, right? That's how life works. You wanted to talk about somebody else's mother that's 10 years older than you, but you don't want the mother to talk about some disrespectful, ungrateful, reckless kid that needs to move away and go from me? Huh? What kind of person are you? I think you're nuts. Never in my life, beyond Justin Bieber, did I ever have to experience somebody stalking me as a grown adult, a kid stalking a grown adult. What do you want, Justin? Huh? What do you want? You have everything that you wanted. All the fancy cars, you have mansions, you travel all over the place, you eat whatever the hell you want. What the hell else you want from me? Leave me in my life and leave me in my children's lives. I have nothing to do with you, you old dirty old brute. And then they talk about black people so much, and then they don't want black people talking about them. So ridiculous. It's the fact that you're trying to claim roots that you didn't even come from. That's very narcissistic. Well, I don't care. I'm just gonna say I came from these roots. Are you mad? Are you crazy? You can't lie. God knows every person, every living, breathing soul on this planet. God knows every person's DNA. You can't claim yourself to be just whatever the hell you think you are. That's nonsense. I remember when Justin came out with the JB7. You're trying to act as if like you were a factory worker, like you actually came from that bloodline, like you never worked a lick of day in a manufacturing facility, Justin. You well know you lied about that. You're such a stinking wretched liar. You didn't come from a descendant that actually owned a factory or a manufacturing plant. You don't come from those lineages either. You're not an English factory owner. You're not an Italian factory owner. You're not an Indian factory owner. You're not an Irish factory owner. And yes, there are black people that own factories too. You didn't come from those origins. You're not Caribbean at all. But all of a sudden they want to claim themselves to be certain ways. What an idiot. I need you to get out of my life. I need you to get out of my life completely. You're a bad investment. That's all you are. Very bad investment. Very ungrateful. Very racist. You're morally corrupt. Your ideology, it all leads down the road of racism. Hate blacks. Yes, we hate blacks. We hate blacks. We hate blacks. Shut up now, man. Shut your mouth, Justin. Shut up. Who cares about how much you hate a black person, really? You think, people don't care anymore. You lurking in the shadows and peeping and creeping around the place. Like, come on. If I give you the finger to your face, I would. It's absolutely ridiculous. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. It's the reason why, like, this society is, like, morally decaying and stuff, because it's these type of people trying to claim superiority, and then they don't know what they're talking about. Right? Oh, observe what my ancestors did. That was racism. It's Christ. You know that racism don't reach anywhere. You know that, right? Racist people don't reach anywhere in life. Very, very, very deep generational disrespects. Very deep ancestral disrespects. Very deep ritual ancestral disrespects. Yeah? And then it's like, well, even like how he's trying to judge situations, like you weren't even ordained to even judge. How can you judge a judge, Justin? Somebody who was ordained to be a judge. How can you judge a judge when God didn't even ordain you to be that way? You made it to the point where now people have to judge you. If you didn't learn to just leave people alone, leave people to go live their lives, but you want to spend so much time trying to criticize and try to judge me, it's time for people to judge you. You don't get rewarded for that crap. There's no rewards for a jealous, hateful person. Just like you just travel in any city, there's every denomination, they got their free will, their free right to practice their religion in peace. Nobody has time for your type of ideals anymore. Nobody has time for it. And no one cares, Justin. Nobody cares. You're a complete waste of time. You sing this song, you sing that song. Sing about yourself. Stop singing about me. Stop singing about my kids. Stop singing about what I'm going through. Stop going online like some sad puppy. Like, oh, let me pet you. Let me stroke your ego and stroke your back and give you fake sympathy when you're a damn devil. You're old, dried up old demon with your fake self, Justin. Huh? You don't even represent religion. That's not religion. No. You just over there just doing whatever the hell, doing your own thing, whatever. Put down the Bible and go find something else to do with your time. You're not serious. Oh, miserable. And I'm 10 years older than you. I have every right to even judge how you even want to practice Christianity, because that's not Christianity. Just because you show up at Hillsong Church, clapping your hands and whatever, doesn't make you a Christian at all. Your behavior, it says a lot about your character. Ridiculous. All because they go and go smoke up your drugs and everything, and you want to come and project your toxic behavior on people like me. I don't do drugs. Understand that. I'm not a mental case. Understand that. That's who you are, Justin. You're trying to tamper into other people's psyche. You're trying to go and attack people spiritually with your spells and everything. There's more than just being physically present. There's a spiritual world, and I see it, and I see you, and I rebuke you. Return the sender tenfold. I don't accept your demons. I don't accept your lies and foolishness. There is nothing else beyond what I'm telling you online that I have to say to you. Cut this crap out. Oh, but we need feedback from her. We need to see what she's doing. We need to. Shut up. Just shut up. Shut up. That's harassment too. You know that? I'm waiting for the day when you're gonna stop projecting what I'm doing on that channel. Stop trying to channel me because I'm not interested in channeling you. These are hazards. Somebody trying to leech off of racism, that's a hazard. You're shape shifting and just jumping in and out of things like you're a wild beast. Huh? Shifting all these different motions. Oh, let me go here and do this. Let me run in here and do this and doing this and this. People cannot take you seriously at all. Like back in the day, the real musicians, they they make their music and they make sure it's quality and they take their time to do it, and they make sure what they put out is something that people will enjoy. People will. It was, man. There's some songs people play here in LA back from this 1960s, 1970s, because that was quality music. You just don't want to be authentic, and you don't want to tell the truth, and you want all these people to believe in you, and you just want to be fake. And you're trying to make things fit that doesn't fit. Well, I'm not a happy person. How long have you been in the music career, in the music industry for? Like over 10 years? If you're not happy at this point, you're just a straight up lost cause and you need to leave people alone and go fix your mental health. Can you do that for yourself? And don't worry about other people? You're just too defensive towards someone who doesn't really give a shit about you. I'm putting these things online now so people can hear what type of person you actually are. People need to actually hear the real. Enough of you putting out fake. People need to hear the real. I want to do this. I want to. You go do whatever you want to do. Just make sure I'm not a part of it. I don't want you in my life. I don't care if you're a celebrity. I really don't. You're an up. Trying to use my records from Canada. That's what he's been doing. All my past occupations, the jobs that I used to do, my SIN number, my date of birth, my astrology sign, my first name, my middle name, my last name. Trying to use my 2 kids. Trying to use my medical records. Trying to use like speech from my country over here in California. Those are things you've been doing to me, Justin. Huh? And then you're using it to create servers and connect them to Bitcoin databases. That's what you've been doing. God showed me that. I didn't need anyone else to tell me that. God showed me exactly what you're doing. And you need to give me back money. Go find your own way. Well, that's the way she served in Canada. Let's make a false server on our machines, and then we'll take the information, and then we'll attach to Bitcoin so we can withdraw, we can mine off of it. Yeah, let's do that. You're crazy. You are so crazy for that. I swear to God. The point is that I am Christ's body. You cannot claim my body because you don't have my DNA historically. I'm a very unique person in terms of DNA. You cannot claim my Christ body. And the socials, like you said, I can't have you using my social security coming out of Canada and peddling it here in Hollywood. I can't have you doing that. There's an overpayment, Justin Bieber, and you need to return it to me tenfold. 20-fold, 100-fold. You need to return back those socials. I just can't believe life came down to this, you know? Can't believe I came down to this. But you caused this on yourself. When someone asks you to stop and the Most High tells you to stop something, you need to listen to the Most High when He says stop. And then you're just living in this like delusion because you think that, okay, just because like you represent like the appearance of like a European Jewish experience, but you're delusional thinking that's what all Judaism compromises of. Like all those old battles from back in the day, talking about the black Jews and stuff, like that's all debunked now. You can't hide that anymore. You can't hide that. Right? You trying to like reenact some sort of black Ashkenazic manifesto, you know, trying to erase my identity. I can't erase my identity. I can show the world our identity without you, Justin. I don't need you to put out my black Ashkenazic identity. You can't even fulfill that role. Look how you lie. You took a story, you twisted up and say, I went through that. And even the story that you put out is still a lie. It's still like some mumbo jumbo confusion. Right? I think you're cruel. Yeah. Like, I think you're cruel because, I mean, there's people all over the world who had to face persecution. For you to lie and say, "Oh, I was a part of a Black Ashkenazic persecution," or "I was a part of the Marano persecution. I was a part of that journey." When you there's no like you have no evidence and your actions don't even prove your actions prove that you actually weren't a part of those types of persecution. I think you're just straight up cruel and evil. That's a diabolical type of personality trait to put out. And you put this on social media. Like, you know, people in their corners and they have these like weird, messed up ideals that they'll make up in their mind, you know? That's them being delusional. But the fact that you actually put it out on the internet for like billions and billions of people to actually watch. You don't carry black Ashkenazic communications. You've been in the music game for the last 10 years. You don't carry those type of communications. You're actually here in America hanging around with the American blacks. So what gives, Justin? You need to give back to me. I'm a Canadian. You need to give back to me. You're trying to hack me for my memory. You're a sick individual. And you want people to pay attention to you. Huh? Based out of my information? That's all my information. Yeah? You don't protect women. I don't think so. Yeah, Justin's not into protecting women, and he's not into protecting black Ashkenazi Jews. He's not into that. You want everything to be all on social media and just like blah, 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 blah. Like, it's, why? You know, that's even violation with Judaic laws and Judaic rights. There's certain things you're not even supposed to put out in society. There's certain things that are just like they're left to traditions. Okay. Anyway, the point is that it's my right to be able to protect myself against people like Justin Bieber. It's my right to protect myself against people like him because he's spreading error. He's not the truth. It's all fake, weird nonsense. And honestly, in all honesty, most of the things that he put out, it should have been left alone. He shouldn't have. It's not for society to learn certain things about certain cultures. Like, no. Well, I think it was something to look down on people. Actually, people need to look down on you, Justin. hmm People need to look down on Justin. That's what you put out, isn't it? That's what you put out. You wanted people to look down on black people, on black Jews. Are you crazy? On black Hebrews, like true, authentic Hebrews. I'm talking about Jews that came from Jerusalem, like Jews that actually were in Israel. Like he wants people to look down on them, even though you took information from us. You don't make any sense whatsoever. Then you shouldn't get paid for it either, because you're a stupid liar. Hate, 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 hate. Let's hate the Jews. Let's hate the black Jews. Monday to Friday, Sunday to Sunday. Like for what? What are you trying to be like us? Please. The fact that you actually thought that I wasn't important, but you want to take my information, right? You're a hypocrite. That's hypocritical. Eh? Oh, they're not anything. Oh, but she's actually high vibrational. She actually has very high DNA. Oh, shoot, really? Well, we got to take that information from her. But we can lie to the world and say that she's nothing, right? Actually, people starting to catch on. Like, it's actually you. You're actually nothing. Well, let's steal the money. You got to pay that back, Justin. Sorry. Not sorry. I don't like him. It's like these people that keep projecting a whole bunch of crap, and then you put up boundaries and they're saying, what? You mean to tell me like I'm supposed to like not have my way? No, because that's what God ordained. God, you can't just claim God and then be an unprincipled person. Like you actually have to claim God and respect ancestries and other people's boundaries. No, you can't just do whatever you want. Hey, would I would have done would I do what he did to me? No. Why? Because I don't care about people like that. I only care about what God told me to do on this planet. The people that I'm supposed to be connected to in this lifetime, that's all I care about. And the work that God set me out to do in this lifetime is what's all I care about. I cannot concern myself about everybody else's wretchedness or their just dirty behaviors and stuff. Like, I can't accept that. Well, you're just lying about the stalking and everything. No, I'm not. Like, you hacked my email and I had a cell phone and you were like taking literally the words on my cell phone and posting it on your social media account. But you're not supposed to say anything. Are you stupid? Of course I'm supposed to say something. You're violating my personal privacy and that's against the law. You want to take my information because you want me to suffer? You wanted me to suffer for you? Why? When you're not even higher than me. I'm higher than you. You shouldn't even been on my phone in the first place. You need to get off of my phone. And you keep talking about stupid things on social media. Because you really had nothing to really talk about, really. That's why I had to come on here and start talking about real things. Because you really didn't have anything proper to talk about. And you know what, Justin? I don't accept you. Because these are things that cause more separation out of people and groups of people, and that's not what God ordained. God did not intend for these things to happen this way. You understand me? So I think my goal is just to separate from you as an individual, and whatever perspective that you hold trying to be so defensive against me, I can just, how about I just reject you completely, Justin? Like, just reject everything that you stand for in terms of you trying to reflect off of my existence. I reject you, Justin Drew Bieber. Can you accept that? Because to be honest with you, like a lot of work that God set out people to do back in the day, like early 2000s, like that's all finished now. Like it's been done already. It's been done. So there's nothing else more to say in terms of it. We just look back and reflect and say, oh yeah, oh yeah. But there was more things to do. There was more work that need to be done. But it's people like you why certain things can't be done. So next time you want to try and scapegoat off of somebody, point your finger at yourself first before you start pointing at a black person. You can't do that anymore. You can't just walk around this earth and say, shoot, I have so much problems. Who can I blame? Oh, we'll just blame the blacks. Like, you can't do that anymore because nobody cares. I turn my back on you. I'll walk away from you. You go your one corner. I go your corner. And when you see me, I don't even have to acknowledge that you exist. That's a choice. This is called stalking and social political oppression. That's what it's called. And no, you weren't supposed to do it. I'm one person, and I don't want to talk about these things anymore because it's stupid. And your racism is really stupid too. Well, she's the descendant of the original people, so there's a lot of people that are descendant of the originals. Doesn't mean you're supposed to stalk me. I'm not living out my true authentic life. I'm surviving just like anybody else. So stop stalking me. I'm not working. I'm not working in my house. So go away, Justin. People can't even have proper rest. They can't even like sit down and deal with their own life. There's always someone trying to sit around and watch people. Like, go away. Eh? In actuality, I shouldn't even be dealing with you, Justin. That's the whole point of this. Like, there's other networks of people that I can deal with. I should not be dealing with you, and you should not be dealing with me. Everything right now, it has to do with my own ability to like establish my own connections with other networks. You need to disconnect with me in terms of you trying to wanting to take what God ordained for me or whatever contracts that God had for me. I need you to disconnect yourself. Oh, well, she's going through this and she's going through that and this and that. Da, da, da. That's the problem. It doesn't have anything to do with you. Don't concern yourself. Because you created it too. You're part of it. You're part of creating these type of exploits around people. And then when it's time for you to get called out, you don't want to get called out, huh? Yo, get my life. You need to leave my life. Leave my life. I think there's another reason why God ordained COVID, because there's a lot of like very low vibrational people trying to hang on to like really old things that should have been like people should have been able to move and walk away from those situations. They shouldn't have to deal with those things. Those things have been resolved. People healed from a lot of issues. It's unfortunate you never healed from your issues, but there are people in society that healed from those issues. And no, they don't want to go back in time and have to deal with some weirdo that refuses to heal. Anyway, the point is that I'm conscious of what's going on, and you cannot exist in this lifetime and then act as if like it's not happening. You can't lie on God like that and act as if like you're not doing that. You're not descendant of, you didn't come from my ancestry. You're not a descendant of Elijah. You didn't come from that ancestry. So stop trying to act like you did, because you didn't. Right? Stop trying to act like you came out of the book of Kings. You don't have the speech of Ojai or Jah. You don't have this Greek speech. You don't have like Black Ashkenazic speech. You don't have the speech of Shadim, Justin. You don't carry this speech. You don't have our dialect. That's just enough proof that you don't share our ancestry. So stop trying to pretend. It's getting really lame, old, boring. Okay? It's not natural order. It's just not. It's very, 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 very low key situations of you just trying to tiptoe around the truth of situations when you should have just been able to sit in your corner. If somebody doesn't want to deal with you, respect that. If someone just say, "Oh man, you're so high vibrational, man. Like you're like a queen, and like you're supposed to be doing like these big jobs and stuff. Like, oh, I want to hang around you." And then the person's like, "Look, it's, I'm flattered that you see me as a person of interest, but to be honest with you, I have my own personal issues that I need to deal with, so it's not good for me or you to try to attach yourself to me because I'm just not in that realm of service in terms of like whatever type of knowledge that you're trying to look for out of me. I'm not doing those things. So can you please, Justin, just go find something else to do with your time? Can you go do that for yourself? Because she's not doing those things. If I was working in my house, then you could say, "Oh man, she's working on the job. Like, okay, let me see if I can, uh, you know, whatever I was looking for out of the girl. Let me see if I can try and work with the situation." But if somebody's not working in their God given profession, you need to just leave them and let it go. You know, just let it go. There's like you serve no relevance. You just don't serve any relevance. And you're not serving God, the highest good out of God, you know? Like, you're just very, very objective. And then, like, the fact that you're trying to come against me in, like, all these various forms of error, like, you just go away, please. When you have mama and she raises you as a child, and then you grow and grow and grow, and after a certain amount of years, you know, mama needs a break. Mama needs time for herself. No, you go find somebody else to pick on, Justin. Go find somebody else to go and deal with. I'm not interested in dealing with anything that you want out of me. I'm just not interested in those things. So, unfortunately, I had to be rude to you, but I'm kindly asking you to just remove yourself out of my life completely. I just can't. I have integrity. I have integrity, and it was based on how I was raised. It was based on my struggles in life. It's based on the principles that God instilled in my heart. You don't have those personality traits, so just go. Look how many years you have time to learn to develop your personality and learn to, be more of a genuine person around people. And you didn't choose that way of living. Just go away. I'm not interested in you. I had to battle a lot of fights in my lifetime. And unfortunately, Justin, you're not a fight. You're a stalker. Like, this is weird, messed up, really weird, messed up things. I'm very disappointed in you because you don't have any work records coming from Canada, and I do. I have a decent a work a work record. My years working in that system. I have that, and you don't have that. I have a recollection of being educated in certain areas coming from Canada, and you don't have that. I have Canadian records, employment records that serve as evidence that yes, I did serve in certain areas. You don't have that. You know what I mean? Like, I actually have evidence that I was working in social justice work in Canada, and you don't have that. Most of my communications back in the day was coming from Canada. Your communications was coming from America. You don't have that. You don't have Canadian communications because majority of your time you were in America. You lied a lot. There's a lot of experience that you said that you went through and you never actually experienced it. You're trying to like put out experiences as if like you lived through certain institutions in Canada and you actually didn't because you were here in America. And then you put out like a whole bunch of falsity talking about as if like you actually had like ancestral connections here in America and you actually didn't. Maybe you probably had some military connection, but you didn't even put that truth out online. Whatever military occupation you came from, you didn't even put that truth out. You put out a whole bunch of lies. You're trying to play like Canadian social worker in freaking Hollywood. What's wrong with you? Justin, you're not West Indian. You didn't come from that at all. Like you don't at all. At all. Yeah, you make people have to come online and insult your dumbass because you don't know how to leave people alone. Hmm? Everything is just like, oh, let me abuse black people. Like, there's a time when black people just like, yo, just get lost, man. Like, who cares? I'm so busy doing things for God that I can't even like put too much focus on you. But now I see how you're taking. I took time to look and reflect and say, "Damn, Justin did all that." Shh. Okay, now I gotta say something. You have to subjugate anybody. That's straight up hate. Like, you have to subjugate me here in America. So my ancestors have been here. My ancestors went through the Underground Railroad. My ancestors went through that, and they ended up in Connecticut. So I can't have you discriminating against me. Okay? I don't have these people trying to come around people and let's try to search them out and figure out this and that. Shut up. Like, go away. Please. You don't understand. Like, people's ancestors, they suffered. Before we even existed, like, people's ancestors really, really suffered. Who is this kid? Stop talking about people's ancestors. All that's done. All that's done. Like, just keep that to yourself. Like, I don't accept his type of thinking because, I grew up in a generation where I grew up with everybody in school. And it was actually a fun thing, like learning about other people's cultures, and it was actually a fun thing growing up. And it actually changed my generation generationally because there was a time when the kids my age, their parents were racist, and the kids used to come from home from school to their parents and say, I don't care what my parents say. That's my friend. I don't care. And eventually the parents had to accept them. That's their child. Sometimes the white girl would come home with the black guy. Yeah, the parent would get mad, but after a while, it's like, well, that's my daughter. If that's what makes him happy. As long as he's taking care of you, you know, as long as he's taking care of you, then um, what does it have to do with anything? You know, they take care of you, love you, and everything. What is color? And then eventually, like, it was so fun in Canada when they started to implement um, different, like when you had the weddings, it had all these different uh, culturally mixed weddings. It was like so unique. It was so fun. So yeah, Justin, like we don't need people like you in our lives. I'm sorry, I just don't need people like you in our lives. Like my family personally, like we evolved out of generations, we evolved out of like half the garbage that you spew out. My family, we don't believe in those things. Like, we actually believe in integration. Sorry. My whole family is mixed. Nieces and nephews, they're all mixed up and they love each other. So we can't accept these type of people trying to hang around us and just trying to instill this weird type of hatred that, like, it doesn't process in our minds, Justin. Even he, like, he put out so much hatred, he still doesn't even understand himself. Eh? It's just a demon just trying to run him, and I don't even accept that. Justin, can you just please go away? All the things that you so-called see, whatever, just go away. Eh? Even like issues out of imperialism and stuff, like, that's really, really, really old um, ruling that he wasn't even born when they put those laws out. He wasn't even born. Those things came from like old third world Italy, I think, from like the 1800s. So, like, why would you teach your kids in this, especially in North America? Like, why would you come to North America and then teach your children like these really old crap? It doesn't serve any relevance here. Especially the millennials, like a lot of these generations, they don't care and they don't want to hear half these things that, these ideals that he puts out. They don't want to hear it. You need to have some respect for other people's cultures and respect their ancestors and the struggles that they went through. And if you don't care about that, you need to just fall off, Justin. Straight goods. You're trying to play like all these tricks as if, like, oh, I'm the victim. I'm the victim of that. I'm the victim of this. I'm the victim of that. You have no actual historical evidence to support the things that you're trying to say. There's no historical factors. There's no historical evidence. So I think at this point, like, just shut your mouth. See? Justin, just shut your mouth, because God has to deal with these issues out of people who steal other people's records, and then it's probably coming out of his genes, is issues coming out of Justin's genes, stealing, trying to fight against people, and just people who just generally lack empathy for other groups of other people. Then who cares? Like, just go away and don't talk about us. Yeah, it's your genetics, Justin. You have like some type of genetic condition that you need to just figure out on your own and just go away. Stealing and fighting, stealing and fighting. Racist, 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 racist. Like, shut up. And then you're trying to use that to build. That's sick. You're sick. Anyway, this went on for what, an hour and 23 minutes. So, all I can say is that I respect my ancestors and what they went through, the 400 years and the age of discovery. I respect that. They have the 1494 Battle of Milan. I respect everything that our ancestors had to go through. But in terms of like the 400-year ruling, in terms of people's race and their origins, people need to respect that there are groups of people that come from different origins. And they have to respect people as a human being that have a soul. You have to respect our soul, and all these things, like people who are racist against other people's cultures, people who are racist, like, they bring up all these weird race theories and, just all different forms of racism. Like, just get over yourself. Like, nobody cares. If I meet somebody nice, and sometimes I'll say, oh, where you from, da 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 da. Oh, I came from this and I came from that. I remember I met a Mexican girl. She said, oh, my ancestors were Aztecs. I thought that was so cool. She was telling me like the journey of what her ancestors come from. Like, to me, that was like a privilege to meet someone like that. So I can't hate somebody who came from that lineage. Stop hating on people who went through, different experiences. And when you look at it, people are hating on it because they're not really supposed to be talking about it, really. Eh? They're not really supposed to be talking about it. Anyway, that's it for tonight. That's it for now, and I hope people change. If they're not willing to change, just stay away from people. People are tired. Have a good night. Bye.